The classroom was silent. One by one, students walked to the front of the class to collect their report cards. For most, it was a moment of quiet pride, a nod to hard work and dedication. But in the last row sat a boy named Arjun. His hands trembled as he watched his classmates receive their accolades. He knew, with a sinking certainty, what his own report card would reveal. When he finally reached the front, his teacher's smile was kind, but it couldn't quite mask the disappointment in her eyes. He took the folded paper, his fingers numb. He unfolded it slowly. Failed again. The word seemed to echo in the sudden stillness of his own mind. The weight of it pressed down, heavy and suffocating. He felt a familiar sting behind his eyes, a desperate urge to disappear. He saw the pity in some of the passing glances, the impatience in others. It felt like a brand, a mark of his inadequacy. He wanted to run, to hide from the knowing looks, from the silent judgment that seemed to follow him everywhere. This wasn't just a grade, it felt like a verdict. A confirmation of everything he feared about himself. He walked back to his seat, the crumpled paper a heavy stone in his pocket. The rest of the class continued, a blur of murmurs and shuffling feet. Arjun stared at his desk, tracing the grain of the wood, a silent testament to his own perceived emptiness. He felt a profound sense of isolation, a chasm separating him from the success that seemed so effortless for everyone else. The dreams he once held, bright and vivid, now seemed distant and unattainable, like stars obscured by a thick, dark cloud. He wondered if he was simply not built for this, if the path of learning and achievement was a road he was destined to watch from the sidelines. Days turned into weeks, and the cycle of struggle continued. Every assignment, every test, felt like an insurmountable mountain. He'd try, he truly would. He'd spend hours poring over textbooks, his brow furrowed in concentration. But the words would swim, the concepts would elude him, and by the time he sat down to face an exam, the knowledge he thought he'd grasped would scatter like startled birds. He'd see the concern in his parents' faces, the strained patience of his teachers, and each instance chipped away at his already fragile self-belief. He started to believe the whispers of doubt that had begun to follow him, the insidious thought that perhaps he wasn't smart enough, capable enough, or simply enough. One evening, while walking home, head down, lost in his own gloom, he stumbled upon an old banyan tree. Its roots, gnarled and ancient, spread wide, anchoring it firmly to the earth. It looked weathered, battered by countless storms, yet it stood tall, a silent sentinel of resilience. He sat beneath its vast canopy, the dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves. He watched a tiny ant, struggling to carry a crumb many times its size. It faltered, it dropped its load, but it didn't give up. It nudged, it pushed, it found a new angle, and slowly, painstakingly, it moved forward. A small seed of an idea began to sprout within him. He thought about the banyan tree, its slow, steady growth over years, its unwavering strength. He thought about the ant, its persistent effort despite its size. He realized that perhaps his own journey wasn't meant to be a sprint, but a marathon. A journey of small, consistent steps, rather than grand, immediate leaps. The seeds of success don't sprout overnight. They require patience, nourishment, and unwavering faith. Every single day, one page, one chapter, one habit, one improvement. It wasn't about instantaneous brilliance, but about the cumulative power of effort. He started small. Instead of trying to absorb entire chapters, he focused on understanding one paragraph at a time. He began setting tiny, achievable goals. Finishing one math problem, writing a single coherent sentence, or mastering a new vocabulary word. He learned to celebrate these small victories, to acknowledge the effort, not just the outcome. He started asking questions, even the ones he thought were foolish, realizing that understanding was more important than appearing knowledgeable. He sought out his teachers, not for answers, but for guidance, for a different way to look at the material. He began to see that failure wasn't an end, but a detour, an opportunity to learn and recalibrate his approach. He discovered that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. He started to believe in himself, not in a sudden, overwhelming surge, but in a quiet, persistent growing conviction. He realized that his unique perspective, his different way of thinking, could be a strength, not a weakness. He learned to embrace the process, to find joy in the learning itself, independent of the grades. He understood that true success was not just about academic achievement, but about personal growth, about becoming a more resilient, more determined individual. The journey was far from over. There were still days filled with frustration, moments when the old doubts threatened to resurface. But now he had a new compass, a new understanding. He knew that every setback was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to build strength. He learned to be compassionate with himself, to recognize that progress is not always linear. He understood that consistency, even in the smallest doses, could lead to monumental change. Your progress may be invisible today, but it is happening. Every effort, every moment of learning, every time you choose to show up, you are building something profound. You are cultivating a strength that will carry you through any storm. Keep learning. Keep trying. Keep showing up. Because one day, someone else may be inspired by your story. We have to understand that however, if no one trusts us, we have to trust ourselves and never have to get demotivated by other people. Thoughts, the real struggle will get to know to others when you will start showing the results. Be patient and wait till the result comes in your struggle, and once the result comes, you will never have to explain your struggle to anyone who don't believe you. Most of the time, students don't have patties to fight with their struggle or fight with their own thoughts. But this is not the actual solution we have. We have that much courage that we can face the world and struggle for our dreams, and not choosing suicide is the courage we can always show. Thank you.
वीडियोस बनाने हैं, फिल्मोरा है ना।